What's up, girl? So, I wanted to come live and talk about I don't eat bad, but not seeing the results that I want. And let me go ahead and I forgot to add the Diamond Nation channel in here. So, let me do that. And go ahead and give me a hashtag replay if you are watching this on replay. I feel like this is going to be a topic that resonates with a lot of you guys. And so, especially lately, especially during the holidays. So that's why I want to talk about it because it can be like very, like very, disappointing when you feel like you're eating healthy but not seeing the results that you want. But it takes a lot of like self-assessment and self-eval in order to make sure that you are getting the results that you want. And I apologize that I am sick. So give me a hashtag live if you're watching this live so I can thank you for tuning in. Give me a hashtag replay if you're watching this on the replay. And if you get any value out of it, excuse me. Oh, if you get any value out of it, then drop a heart and let me know your biggest takeaway. So, I wanted to do this topic because um, I think that with my program not being one where you have to count calories and you don't have to be like extremely specific on your weight loss goals, then that I think that that automatically correlates to some people that that means that you don't have to track your food whatsoever. But that's just not the case whatsoever. So let me do live stream, start live stream, and record. Here we go. So I say that because it takes a lot in order to see results. And I've been sharing with you guys that I've been watching or listening to the David Goggins book Can't Hurt Me. And so he talks a lot about like evolution of like getting to your better self, getting to the self that like doesn't take excuses for answers, like where you get to a point in life where you don't accept your own excuses. Because at the end of the day, like you can want to lose weight, but executing is the hardest part. So how do you get to the part where you're like executing and you're able to give yourself an honest self assessment? Because one of the things that he talks about in his book is that when you want a specific result or a specific thing in life, the very first thing that it takes is getting out of denial, and being able to honestly self-assess like the need for change. And so that's a one thing that most people don't have. They're not able to like look in the mirror and see for themselves like, hey, I have 20 to 100 pounds to lose. And excuse me. And the way that I'm living my life is not serving my goals. So first it's getting out of denial, like being able to look at yourself in the mirror, and not necessarily have self-hate or beat yourself down, but being able to really be real and raw with yourself, and get out of denial, like, okay, there's a need for change. So that's step one. Then step two is when you can honestly like self-assess, like, okay, what are my current habits that are not serving me and getting to those goals? Like he talks about how he was 300 pounds overweight and he had to get to 200 ish in order to join the military for the second time in life. Um, and so he says that, like, he used to like have all this food spread out for him, like pancakes and bacon and like cereal and like all of the food, and how he would just binge and eat and he would overeat. And like it got to the point where like he would rip the crotch in all his pants when he bent down, and he had to sew a sock into the crotch of the pants in order for his pants not to rip. So like it took some honest self-assessment that okay, binge eating is not serving me. And then two, he had to find like a higher purpose. His higher purpose was that he wanted to join the military. Lately you have seen my higher purpose be that I want to compete and step on a stage. So you have to find like what's going to drive you, because motivation is not always going to be there. Motivation is just a feeling, it's just like happiness, and no human is ever happy. So, no human is ever going to be motivated, because motivated is when like all things are going well and you want to hit a specific goal. But the thing is that things will not always go well. And so that's when consistency and discipline comes into play, where you want to have routines in place, you want to have certain mechanisms in place to make sure that you're hitting your goals regardless of if you feel good or not. So that's when like planning out when you're going to work out, how you're going to work out, what you're going to do when you get to the gym, like taking the guesswork out. And then also with your food, when it comes down to it, making sure that you are tracking your food in some way, shape, or form. And this is what I really wanted to get into, because the title of this is I don't eat bad, but I'm not seeing results. So earlier today, I put in the group chat that just because you're not tracking your calories does not mean it's open season or open range. Like either photos, a food journal, the Diamond Nation app, or a third party app, you should be tracking your food in some way, shape, or form. And all of those methods are ways to track your food. I personally use a portion tracker app, so it does not track the exact calories. It just simply says, like, I had XYZ of servings of protein, of carbs, of fat today. And then I take photos and I put those photos in the Diamond Nation. Excuse me. It's not fun being sick. But I put those photos inside of the Diamond Nation app, and then I stick to Whole Foods 80% of the time. So I want you to think that like this is not a diet. This isn't where you'll never be able to eat fun foods again. But if you're really, really serious about hitting your goals, then what you want to do is make sure that you are like staying away from processed food, staying away from the snacks, because the snacks are not going to serve you. The 500-calorie drinks aren't going to serve you. Like even if certain things may seem harmless, you have to be willing to get out of that denial space. Number one. Step two is take full accountability. And step three is develop the discipline and routines in place in order to take the guesswork out. And so you have to hold yourself accountable for your own actions of the food that you're putting in your mouth, because all of that is going to add up on a daily basis, and also how you move your body on a daily basis. And then step four is stop making excuses and coming up with better ways to find solutions to problems rather than excuses to problems. Because growth and change doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It does not occur in your comfort zone. It happens when you are uncomfortable. It happens when you are pushing yourself. It happens when You stop making the excuses and get out of your comfort zone. If you are in your comfort zone, if you're finding it easy to lose weight, then it's probably you're probably doing something wrong. It's not going to be easy to lose weight, and that's okay. Like, that's actually the fun in it all, is to be able to challenge yourself, to be able to push yourself in ways that you never have before, and then take pride in that. Like, oh my God, like, I stuck to my nutrition this week. I stuck to my step count, I stuck to my water goal, I stuck to, eating whole foods at every meal, I stuck to not going over 4 or 5 carbs each day. I stuck to weightlifting for at least 30 minutes 3 days a week. Most of you, I've had like plans that I have come up with, and so if you are sticking to that 80% at an 80% rate, or a B average, so to speak, or higher, then that should be your formula in order to see um, a half pound to 2 pounds come off. Okay. It's all about building those healthier habits. And I'm not saying that you need to be perfect, but your goals definitely do need to be like in the forefront of your mind and be super important to you. And otherwise, if your goals aren't important to you and it's just like, I want to lose weight, but I don't have that action to back it, then it's not going to work. So I hope that this makes sense. With me being sick, it was a little bit harder to get through this lie. But I hope this makes sense. Essentially, step one is being out of denial. Step two is being able to self-assess, and that is honestly just a good behavior to have in life in general, not just in your weight loss journey, but self assessment in every aspect of your life. Being able to audit yourself, like, is X, Y, and Z working? Is it X, Y, and Z serving me? And then step three was making sure that you are tracking your food, because just because you're not counting calories, just because you're not counting the grams of protein, the grams of carbs, doesn't mean that you should not be tracking your food whatsoever. And it doesn't mean that it's open season. Like, weight loss is not going to just happen. It's not just going to be like, abracadabra, ziggity zam, and like 20 pounds is off. Like, you have to put in some type of work in order to get there. Step four is making sure that you are not making excuses. Like, excuses will not get you anywhere whatsoever. Like, if you want to coddle yourself and tell yourself it's okay when it's really not, that's not going to get you to your weight loss goals. Like, you have to be able to tell yourself the truth. You have to be able to find solutions to problems than making excuses. You have to be bigger than your excuses. Be bigger than your excuses. And then five is making sure that you're not in your comfort zone. You should not be in your comfort zone whatsoever. Whatsoever. You should be pushing yourself in some way, shape, or form. Whether that's like, I've never meal prepped before, and you get out of your comfort zone and you meal prep. And there's modules on that in the app. Whether that's, I've never got on the treadmill daily for 7 days straight or 30 days straight, and that's my goal. Like, there should be some way, shape, or form that you should be pushing yourself, and being out of your comfort zone, because that's where change occurs, is outside of your comfort zone. So that's the recap. That, just because you feel like you're not eating bad, that's that's not what's going to get you results. It's really being real with yourself. Like, are you putting in the work? And if not, then being able to change and pivot and then start putting in the work. Because just saying I don't eat bad isn't the thing. Because I talk to people every single day in the DMs, like potential clients that say that they don't eat bad, but they still have 100 pounds to lose. So obviously they're not eating bad. That's not going to cut it. Like you really have to like hone in, start tracking your food in order to figure out like are there some habits here that I need to change? To be able to self-assess, you have to know what you're putting in your mouth. I don't eat bad, that doesn't get you weight loss. So be real with yourself, hold yourself accountable. Don't be in denial. Be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that I have 20 to 100 pounds to lose. What do I got to do to get there? Not about beating yourself up when you're looking in that mirror, but like David Goggins, he talks about in his book, the accountability mirror, like being able, and he says that he puts sticky notes on his mirror of like different goals that he has and what he has to do, and like different mantras that he says to himself. But he says being able to look at yourself in the mirror, hold yourself accountable, and tell yourself what you need to do, and then hold yourself accountable to actually do that. That's where most humans fail, because your human brain is designed to keep you in the same place, because a survival mechanism of your brain is actually like to just stay in your comfort zone. So you have to fight that voice that wants to keep you in your comfort zone. You have to fight and feed the other voice that that wants to be driven. And so there's a difference between being motivated and being driven. Okay. So you want to be driven, you want to have a higher purpose, you want to have a reason outside of yourself. You want to have a deep why to stay on this long term. Okay. Because otherwise, if it's just like, I don't really care if I lose the weight or not, then you're not going to be driven enough to stay on it long term. So I hope this helps. Drop your biggest takeaway down in the comments below. Again, I apologize for being sick and being monotone and all of the things, but I hope that this helps and that you got a key takeaway, and just let me know what that is down in the comments below. As always, it is faith, consistency, and hard work that's going to get you to your goals. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.